A guy tells a girl that he canceled their date, but she's going to be the one paying for the hotel. She turns around and kicks the broke gangster, but he fights back and knocks her to the ground. He tells her that she's useless as she gives him neither money nor pleasure. She starts calling him a loser and says that his tool is small. As he walks away, later in class, she's sad about the end of her relationship. Her friends ask why, and she replies that he looked like Ken Katagura. That's this guy here, he's ugly. A famous actor? She walks down the hall lamenting that she doesn't know anyone like Ken. She then notices an ugly and loser nerd being bullied and sits in front of him. The bullies stop immediately. She takes a look at the book he was reading and soon leaves through the door. She returns to the hall, but the nerd calls her by name. Momo Ayase. He says he knows she's interested in aliens and shows her a magazine full of conspiracy theories. But Momo doesn't care about that. But he makes her angry with his persistence, so she yells, calling him a nerd who has no friends. He freezes, then she regrets it, takes the book, and says she doesn't believe in aliens, but she believes in ghosts. He then starts laughing, saying that ghosts are nonsense. They argue a lot. Then they make a deal. If aliens exist, she will do whatever he wants. But if ghosts exist, he will do whatever she wants. He then sends her to an abandoned hospital that is reputed to have alien activity. In return, she sends him to an abandoned tunnel where there are evil spirits. Both places are macabre and horrible. While they talk to each other, she mentions that her grandmother was a medium. Every time she went to school, she had to do a spell, and the boys made fun of her. She hated her grandmother for this and said horrible things to her. But she realized that she was not angry because of the boy making fun of her, but because he insulted her grandmother, who was the one she loved the most. While they talk, the boy sees strange things like bloody footprints. Suddenly, a horrible old woman appears. She wants the boy's balls. He starts to run. Momo says that she is the old Turbo, and if he doesn't escape, he will be cursed. She loses contact with him and decides to go help him. But suddenly, some strange creatures appear and capture her too. They take her to a chamber where they introduce themselves as Serpians. They say they reproduce by cloning because there are no females in their species, because their internal conflicts are neutralized, but they want to reproduce like humans, so they will need bananas. They will use them to inseminate Momo. She says she will not lose her seal with those disgusting people, but they use telekinesis to calm Momo. When they are about to do it, Momo's cell phone rings. The alien answers and gets punched. It is our hero who was cursed by the old Turbo. He snatches the banana from the alien. The Serpians then take their true form and begin to fight against our hero. He is fast but ends up being caught and begins to say that he always wanted to see the aliens because he had no friends, so he thought they could fill his void. Until Ayase defended him. He will not let her get hurt. He tries to fight back, but the alien is stronger. When Ayase remembers her grandmother teaching her to channel ki, concentrating the force in her belly and releasing it through her head. But Ayase refused because she didn't want to be called crazy at school and said ugly things to her grandmother. But now she starts trying to release her kai, and incredibly, she succeeds. She kicks the disgusting alien and destroys his ship. And when our hero falls on top of her, she uses her kai to remove the old Turbo from his body. But even so, he remains cursed. The old woman says that his balls belong to her, and if he wants them back, he must find her in the tunnel. But the alien's ship crashes. Ayase has to control our hero's kai so he doesn't turn into a monster. He then says that he needs to get his balls back, but Ayase wants to go with him. He then asks her to put on his clothes, in an act of chivalry, and Ayase feels a warmth in her heart, but she doesn't accept that she has feelings for him, so she asks what his name is, and he answers, Ken Katagura. Momo can't accept that he has the same name as her great idol, so she decides to call him Okarun. They are leaving when the day begins to dawn, and Ayase says that Grandma Turbo won't show up during the day, so she invites Okarun to her house because he is finished. When they get there, there is a portal. When Okarun passes through, it starts to burn and Ayase throws him into the river. He sees that his grandmother left an anti-demon seal on the portal. She removes it and Okarun finally manages to enter. He enters Ayase's house, but his grandmother is not there. She changes her clothes and tells Okarun that Grandma Turbo took his balls. Only now has he realized. He is devastated and blames Ayase for challenging him to go into that tunnel, but she replies that it was he who went after her. He then says that he couldn't let the opportunity to have a friend pass him by. He also says that they live in different worlds and that she can ignore him again after all this is over, but Ayase says that she won't. That he then calls her fat, and they start to fight. But the doorbell rings, but the sound is strange. Ayase says that there are 2 doorbells, one for humans and one for spirits. This one must have come in because she removed the seal. Ayase says that they need to replace the seal. They leave through the back door, but suddenly everything goes dark and the land is covered in walls. No one can leave. Then a gigantic creature appears. She says that they did not fulfill the agreement. He wants Okarune's banana. They just hide. Okarune says that it is a monster from Flatwoods. They have been sighted in the United States and Japan. They are known as giant aliens. The alien begins to release black smoke from its mouth and destroys Okarune and Ayase's hideout. The old Turbo begins to manifest in Okarune again. Ayase controls it, but Okarune says he will fight. He wants Ayase to release the curse, leaving him only with control of his own mind. She tries to do it, and they receive an attack. But Okarune saves her. He seems to be in control of the curse. When the alien tries to catch him, he cuts his fingers, but soon he starts to vomit, and Ayase is forced to save him. Okarune says that his body cannot withstand the curse. He is too weak. But Ayase says that that alien is a sumo wrestler, so he can be defeated if he falls to the ground. She throws Okarune at the alien's legs, but he uses a trick to stay standing and ends up attacking Ayase with all his strength. But even so, she does not die and begins to provoke the alien by calling him a chicken. The alien starts to hit her, which makes her come out of the portal and manages to reactivate Grandma's seal, turning the idiot alien into barbecue. They won, but Ayase is feeling weak. She faints and Okarune loses control. A witch is fortune-telling a young man's life, but she gets everything wrong. She has a strange haircut and takes a taxi. Her name is Dodoria Santa. He asks the taxi driver to stop in the middle of nowhere. While Grandma Turbo has taken control of Okarune, she thinks about doing strange things with Ayase, but Dodoria arrives and knocks Okarune down. She says that her granddaughter is always in trouble. Old Turbo tries to attack Dodoria, but she puts her inside a barrier with nails. The closer the nails get, the greater the limitation of movement, and the faster Old Turbo burns. Dodoria is going to kill the old woman when Ayase wakes up in her room. She goes downstairs and asks her grandmother if she saw Okarune. She replies that there was an evil spirit, but she already killed it. Ayase goes into despair and goes after Okarune. She goes thinking about finding him torn apart, but he is alive and eating. She gets angry, but her grandmother soon arrives and asks, when did she make friends with monsters? In that temple, the curse will not activate. Ayase says that she met with aliens and discovered that she has psychic powers, and the one who cursed Okarune was Grandma Turbo. Dodoria responds that in this case it is very dangerous, because Grandma Turbo is a yokai who caused problems in the entire country and who was trapped in a tunnel for a long time. Dodoria went to check once, but was unable to enter due to the great power of the spirit, but she felt another spirit there. It is very likely that it has merged with Grandma Turbo. She tells Ayase to stay away from Okarune for her own good, but Ayase replies that she won't do that, because her idol Ken would definitely help. Dodoria then says that she should ask Grandma Turbo to dance. She trusts her speed and will take the bait. The spirit's territory is the entire city of Shono, so she should lure her out of the city to capture her. Momo asks if it wouldn't be easier to trap the old woman in a barrier, but Dodoria says that the barriers borrow power from the gods of the region. Outside the city, the barriers are useless, so Okarune must train hard to maintain control of the curse, and Ayase must train her psychic powers to help Okarune. The training starts tomorrow. Dodoria leaves and Okarune apologizes to Ayase for being useless in the battle. He promises that if he hears her next time, she will help her. The next day arrives and the training has started, but Okarune wants to take a shit, but the two of them don't let her. Dodoria asks Ayase how she controls Okarune. She replies that she only sees her aura and grabs it with her hand so the curse loses strength. But when Okarune leaves her field of vision, she can't control her aura. Dodoria then asks her to close her eyes for a moment so she can feel instead of see the aura. She tries but fails miserably, and Okarune has already reached his limit. He needs a bathroom, but they chase him so he doesn't use the bathroom in the house. But inevitably, Okarun ends up in an embarrassing situation. They get distracted for a moment and Grandma Turbo appears. She says that her curse is contagious and she will use Okarun to kill the entire city. They will have to find her that night in the tunnel. She leaves and everyone is bleeding. During the night, Dodoria prepares them to fight Grandma Turbo. They dress in traditional costumes and Dodoria hugs his granddaughter, telling her to take care of herself. They leave, but are forced to take the subway. It is too far to go by bike. Okarun and Ayase go to face Grandma Turbo. Obviously, they are scared shitless, but Ayase tries to reassure them that she is just a fragile old woman. But they find a huge head. They try to go the other way, but another head is coming. Grandma says that she will not let this idiot use her power to transform. She will swallow them both and end this. She is about to do so. When Ayase remembers what her grandmother said, Grandma Turbo is too confident in her speed. She then challenges her to a race. Grandma accepts and asks what the rules are. Ayase says that it will be like a game of tag. If Grandma can catch them, she wins, but she will have to give them 10 minutes to run. They start to run, but the old woman gets anxious and decides to start earlier. She catches Ayase, and Okarun is forced to do something. He then bites her rotten tits. Because of Okarun's clothes, she cannot fight back, so she is forced to possess him. Now that she is in Okarun's body, Ayase manages to control the old woman, but the trapped spirit appears calling for Grandma. The spirit is a crab. It chases Ayase and Okarun is forced to transform and jumps to the city center. They run, but the crab son of a bitch is super fast. Ayase then has an idea. She asks Okarun to go to a sauna. When they get there, Ayase bursts a hot water pipe that makes the crab get cooked. He can't move, leaving everyone hungry. They are sure that they will get out of Shono and weaken Grandma Turbo, but a crowd of dead people starts running after them. Grandma says that she asked for help from the city cemetery, and the crab also came back, but Ayase has a plan to use Okarun's super speed to get out of there. Okarun starts running and passes by the damn crab, and they throw themselves near the bridge that is the city limit. There is very little left for them to be able to get out. But in carelessness, Ayase, the old woman, came out of Okarun's body. She then merges with the cursed crab and becomes a super monster. But Ayase clings to the train and succeeds and challenges Grandma to catch her. Grandma starts running and jumps on top of the train, but it was a trap by Ayase, as the train is leaving Shono, and Dodoria is waiting with a trap of seals against spirits. Ayase holds Grandma, she passes and is exorcised, but several girls come out of the crab's body. Later, Dodoria explains that those girls were killed in the tunnel and turned into the crab. Later at dinner, they are eating crab, and in the middle of the discussion, Dodoria Santa asks Okarun to show his dick and balls. He got them back, but he refuses, so Dodoria chases him. Ayase then says goodbye to Okarun. She says, "See you tomorrow." They are friends now. The next day, Okarun goes to school. He is a little nervous and passes by Ayase without saying anything. But she goes after him and says that he is late. He enters the room and is bullied by everyone. He is the nerd. Meanwhile, Ayase seems to be in another world. Her friends say that she is very strange. But she seems visibly in love with Okarun, and Okarun is also eager to talk to her. They look for each other at school but end up not meeting. They finally meet when they bump into each other in the school hallway. Ayase's friends think that they were kissing, but they both deny it. When Okarun goes to the bathroom, he notices that something is missing. He tries to tell Ayase, but she doesn't want to talk to him. She goes out into the hallway and meets another girl. She bumps into him, but he is very shy and doesn't want to talk to her. But when she passes by Ayase, she hears her bad-mouthing Okarun, saying that he is a failed nerd. So she drops a basin on his head and takes Okarun out. On the way, he asks Ayase if they really defeated Granny Turbo. She says yes. Then he says that his balls are gone. They go to Granny Dodoria, and she says that she will check on Okarun. She says that there is something inside him. He puts his feet in a basin of water, and Dodoria brings an amulet. It is a type of ritual. The old woman then starts to hit him, and Ayase notices that when she does this, his aura changes as if there were two of them. She hits him once more, and Ayase manages to pull the other aura. Immediately, the cat amulet starts to run, but Ayase manages to grab it with her psychic powers. It is Granny Turbo. She says that the moment she passed through the barrier, she managed to possess the boy's body with the energy that he had left. Okarun asks her to give him back his balls, but she says that if they do something to her, his balls will never come back. Okarun then transforms. But how is that possible if Granny Turbo left? Dodoria explains that she exorcised Granny Turbo's consciousness, but her spiritual energy ended up staying in Okarun. Dodoria then begins to beat Granny Turbo, but Ayase says that Granny is not that unfriendly. After all, she sheltered the lost spirits of those young women who died in the tunnel. Granny will stay with them for now. Ayase then asks her to return Okarun's balls, but she says that the boys' balls fell somewhere. They are not with her. Grandma Turbo says that Okarun's balls have turned golden, so it might be easier to find, but his balls have a lot of life energy, and this attracts many demons who seek power, so they start beating her, because she lost something very precious after beating the disgusting old woman a lot. They decide to go back home and look for another day. At home, Dodoria says that Okarun's powers are under control, but it's better to stay away from trouble. When Okarun arrives at school, an idiot asks if he's dating Ayase. He says no. Then the idiot says that Ayase is very beautiful. Okarun then realizes that he's around a beautiful girl all the time. The idiot then wants to meet Ayase, which makes Okarun very angry. Okarun grabs him and says that if he touches Ayase, he'll cut off his head. He asks Okarun for mercy, who lets him go. This idiot doesn't know, but he came very close to death. Okarun then goes to his chair and starts reading to disguise what he just did, but discovers that Granny Turbo is inside his backpack. He grabs his backpack and runs away. He hides, and Granny says that this power is a huge burden for him, so he must let her possess his body. She promises to leave as soon as she restores her strength. Okarun refuses, but is surprised by Ayase. She asks what he is doing. His backpack rolls away, but Okarun looks at Ayase and blushes. He decides to walk away, but Ayase misinterprets things and starts chasing him because she thinks he is hiding something. After they leave, Granny decides to enjoy her time at school. Later that day, Ayase's friends tell her that Okarun got into a fight with some guys who said ugly things about Ayase. She is impressed but still does not understand Okarun's behavior. Meanwhile, Aira walks down the hallway. Everyone looks at her because she is a pretty girl, but she herself says that she feels very angry with Ayase. That is why she spread a rumor that Ayase was an easy girl, but it wasn't working so well. Aira says that that day she saw Ayase's demon wings. Aira thinks she is someone chosen to see these things as someone predestined. She then takes a golden ball from her pocket. It is one of our hero's lost balls. She says she will save the world with her powers. A few days ago, Aira was walking down the street when a golden ball fell on her head. She picked it up thinking it was something precious. Once she picked it up, a lightning bolt passed. This was a sign, and Aira decided to keep it, destroying our hero's entire testosterone production cycle. In the present time, she is approached by two friends. They brought a package that Aira asked for. They are a cross and a holy book. Aira says that it will finally happen. Her friends don't understand anything. Aira then says she sees a woman in red outside, but none of her friends are seeing it. When two boys arrive, she disguises herself. They play with her, and through sign language, she tells her friends to meet more. Later, while Grandma Turbo watches intently, Okarun, Ayase, and Grandma are on the school terrace. And while Grandma devours a Big Mac, Ayase asks what Leah is doing there. She replies that she shouldn't answer to a cow. They start to fight. But Okarun comments on what Grandma said about a girl. Grandma says that this girl has strange behavior and seems to be looking for the balls. Okarun says that it is better to look for her. Grandma agrees, explaining that if a demon finds them, he will become powerful. But if a human finds them, he will awaken his spiritual powers and will begin to see spirits, and may also be attacked by them, since the spirits will also see him. Meanwhile, Aira thinks about how she will defeat Momo. Will only the cross and the book be enough? She looks out the window once more and sees the woman in red approaching. Later, Aira comes to talk to Momo and Okarun. She asks for permission to talk to Ayase. She accepts. Ayase hurries off, thinking it's just a reconciliation. She's already left. When Grandma says that Aira is the girl she was talking about, Aira takes Ayase to an abandoned warehouse where her friends knock her down and tie her up. Aira then begins a ridiculous exorcism session. Ayase gets angry and throws the other two girls away. Aira then takes her golden ball out of her pocket, thinking it will help stop Ayase. She explains that it's one of Okarun's balls, and that it's very ugly to worship other people's balls. Okarun then appears. Momo tells him about the balls, but he says that Aira was just a target for the woman in red. In a magic trick, the demon appears and grabs Aira. She calls Aira her daughter, and Okarun transforms to save her. The woman in red has a brief memory of Aira, but is attacked by Okarun. She ends up being caught and the demon tries to swallow him. Ayase tries to stop him, but being tied up, her strength is reduced, and the demon swallows Okarun. The demon begins to say that Aira called her mother, and that's why she came to get her. But Aira doesn't remember any of this. But her beautiful moment is interrupted by Ayase, who tells the yokai to let Aira go. The grandmother then comes out from under the rubble with a cell phone that she stole to search things on Google. She searches something about the yokai. Aira then begins to say that she is not her daughter, and that her mission is to kill stinky yokais. The yokai has his feelings attacked and swallows Aira, saying that due to bad influences, his daughter became a delinquent. She gets angry, and Ayase asks Grandma Turbo for help, but she refuses, saying, "I want you to die." The yokai then captures Ayase and begins to beat her. With her gigantic hair, she wants to force Ayase to say mommy, but Ayase can't speak because the idiot yokai is choking her. The yokai then gets tired and swallows Ayase too. Grandma finally interferes, telling her to give back her stinky children, but the insolent yokai refuses. Grandma then says that Manakineko brings luck. The yokai then starts to catch fire. Grandma explains that when she swallowed Momo, she ended up swallowing her own hair, and the cross that Aira was carrying was also a lighter. Momo then sets the yokai's hair on fire from the inside. The yokai is forced to regurgitate them all. In a flashback, someone runs desperately down the street. Then the yokai's eyes turn to Aira. She starts saying that they stole her Aira. She then sweats her hair to attack, and Okarun and others have to run while they run away. Momo says she has an idea, but she is hit by the yokai. Okarun tries to dodge the yokai's attacks by a rough terrain, but fails and is hit, and ends up losing Aira's body. The yokai then says that when he devours her, Aira will be part of his body. She is about to grab Aira, but feels something holding her movements. When Momo appears and says that her hair is messed up, the yokai's movements with his giant hair caused her to get stuck in the structures, but she quickly uses her strength to free herself and forces Ayase to act. While Ayase holds her, she asks Okarun to use his super speed to kill the yokai, but he is unsure since he only used his speed to escape. But the yokai finally breaks free and attacks. Ayase, Okarun in desperation counterattacks and manages to injure the yokai, but is criticized by Grandma for being weak. They are sure that the yokai died. Grandma then goes to search Aira's pockets in search of the golden ball. She finds it, but has news. Aira is dead. Okarun and Momo try to revive her. Momo asks him to do a cardiac massage while she uses her powers to stimulate Aira's heart. They try several times, but Aira does not respond. The yokai then gets up and calls for Aira. Okarun says that he will face her, but the yokai says that reviving Aira this way will work. She says that the only way is to use her aura to resurrect Aira. The aura, according to her, is like the battery of life. Aira's aura is almost gone, so she will give her own aura to complete what is missing. But Ayase does not trust her, saying that she will devour Aira. The yokai then crushes its own mouth to show good intentions. Ayase accepts the deal and asks what needs to be done. The yokai says that Ayase must use her psychic powers to connect the two auras. Ayase then begins the ritual, and a piece of the past is released. A woman wakes up in a room apparently after a job the girls do to pay for college. She goes outside in a dense rain. She crosses the street. As she passes a shop window, she notices a dress. She goes home. She opens her door and her daughter hugs her. They are both happy to see each other. The days go by. She teaches her daughter ballet, which alternates with several happy moments. After days of hard work, she buys the dress for her girl. But on a beautiful starry night, everything changed. The mother is being attacked by a man. While the girl cries, the mother tries to escape but is seriously injured, and the bandits end up taking her girl. The mother goes out into the rainy night, desperately looking for her girl, but cannot reach them. In her sadness, she remembers everything she went through while dancing until a girl calls her mother. It was little Aira, but she is soon called by her father and asks, "Where is her mother?" Her father answers that she will be away for a while, but in fact, Aira's mother is dead. The woman finally remembers her daughter. Seeing Aira's face, he relives her bad memories, and little by little she becomes a spiteful yokai. At the present moment the transfusion has been done, the yokai begins to apologize as her pieces fall away. Grandma explains that her energy was transferred, and now she will die, and it will be as if she never existed. She adds that in order for her to rest in peace, she will have to eliminate the pain in her heart. Era hears this and is moved. When the aura was transferred, they shared their memories. As her pieces fall away, she remembers her past once again. Era then runs and gives her a hug and calls her mother, so that her soul may rest in peace. She finally breaks apart, and Era says that she will never forget that day. The next day, everyone has a fierce lunch, while Okarun watches the two girls. When Momo says that she knows Ira hates her, and that she doesn't intend to be friends with her, Ira agrees, saying that she won't be friends with Momo because she's sure she's a demon. She also says that Okarun looked like a demon during the fight. The two girls start arguing. Ira then says that Dodoria could never be a grandmother because she's young and beautiful. This makes Dodoria immediately sympathize with Era, leaving Momo furious. While they eat the noodles, they argue abnormally, with intelligible threats, but with mutual hatred. Suddenly, Ira thanks him for the food, grabs her bag and leaves, leaving Momo talking to herself. But Ira comes back for a moment and asks Okarun why, being a demon, he tried to save her. Okarun replies that there is no special reason, he just felt that she needed help. Ira then says that despite Okarun being a demon, he has a human heart. She promises to save Okarun from Momo Ayasi's disgusting clutches. She finally leaves, leaving everyone confused with her reasoning. As Era runs, she thinks if it is right to approach Okarun, after all he is a demon, but her heart is saying yes. Meanwhile, at Momo's house, a ritual is taking place to replace Okarun's balls. They resolve everything in a game of baseball. Grandma Turbo makes her demonic pitch, and Dodoria tries to hit, but misses on purpose. Okarun receives the ball's blow to his empty bag. But everything went well, and the ball returned to its owner. Okarun's testosterone returned. At school, Momo and Okarun try to figure out where the other ball is. She asks Okarun if she can research something on occult forums, but he says it's better not to. She wants to meet him after class, but Okarun says he'll make a report, but he seems stranger than usual. During the break, Ayase goes to lunch with her friends. She comments that he's acting a little strange. Her friends immediately suspect that he's a woman, but Ayase thinks that Okarun isn't that type. But that intrigues her. She then goes to get a drink and starts walking in circles thinking about what's wrong. Her friends said, but suddenly she comes across Okarun and Ira in a compromising scene. Going back in time, Okarun was exercising because Dodoria had asked him to strengthen his body to support his power. But while he was training, Ira appeared. She says that it is wrong to like a dirty demon like Okarun, but her love is true. She then tries to kiss him, but Okarun dodges. He asks why she is doing this. She replies that it is like that she saw in the magazine. When you declare yourself, you should kiss. This magazine is very strange. Okarun says that her academic references are fragile. She shouldn't do something like that. They then begin a bizarre dispute, in which Okarun tries to resist the charms of the feminist girl. He asks her to stop, but she is persistent and says that she has never felt anything like this before. Okarun then uses a single leg to knock down the feminist. He falls on top of her and she tries to kiss him. At this exact moment, Momo appears. Momo then turns and leaves. Okarun follows her. Trying to explain herself, she says that Okarun was going to do the report but was making out with that disgusting feminist. He is all sweaty, and that means they have been making out for a long time. He tries to explain once more, but she says enough and leaves. Momo stays in the classroom lamenting her fate. Later in biology class, they are watching a video about the sea centipede. The centipede can punch very hard to break objects while she plays with the sea centipede. She starts to get nervous, saying that she also wanted to punch someone. In the middle of the classroom, Okarun trains his biceps while reflecting on what he did, but suddenly all the students disappear and Okarun steps on something wet. The scene goes dark. He hears a scream and goes outside. It is Ira. She says that everyone disappeared and she felt something strange. Okarun worries about Ayase and tries to look for her. But Ayase is in another room, but she can't get out because everything is locked. She realizes that the water level is also rising, until she looks towards the hallway and discovers a monster. It's a Loch Ness monster. She hides, but she makes a movement with her feet in the water which attracts the monster's attention. It approaches and with its mouth accumulates energy and launches a powerful attack. Ayase ducks and escapes. The monster then goes to another place. Aira and Okarun hear an explosion, and Aira suspects that they are trying to surround her, but Okarun says that they are in the same boat. He also says that this has happened before in Ayasi's house, and it only stopped when they defeated the alien. He also says that these aliens collect reproductive organs. Suddenly an alien boxer appears. He tries to hit Okarun, but he transforms and dodges. The alien sings a strange song. He tries to fight but is soon caught by the Serpians. He tells Aira to run away because the Serpians like women. They repel Ayara and say that they only want Okarun's banana. Okarun wonders why everyone wants his banana. The aliens say that he has an incomprehensible power. That's why they want him. The disgusting aliens then lift him up and threaten to cut his banana. When they are interrupted by a transformed Aira, she tells them to let go of their crush now. She beats up the aliens and goes to help Okarun, but she notices he's naked, and her banana is ready for combat. She is embarrassed, but aliens attack again. The idiot crabhead starts throwing punches, while Okarun looks for something to hide her banana. Aira tries to attack the alien, but he repels her with telekinesis. The idiot crab keeps hitting, and Okarun remains naked, until the alien hits a punch on our hero that makes him pass out. He soon wakes up, while Aira kicks the alien, but the other manages to catch her with his telekinesis. They are curious to know what she has in her skirt. Is it a banana or a pear? The aliens recognize that her moves are fabulous, but she still lacks a bit of strength. The crab alien punches Aira again, which makes Okarun react. He transforms but remains without clothes. The aliens then use their telekinesis. When the three are together, it is almost impossible to resist. The crab alien then starts hitting Okarun, but he reacts and knocks the stupid alien out with one headbutt. He managed to do this because Momo blocked the alien's telekinesis. She tells them to prepare to die. Momo is shocked to learn that Aira has transformed. Her aura has merged with the dancing yokai. Aira says that she will not share Master Ken Katagura with her. This makes Ayase lose control, and the alien's power returns. They take the opportunity to wake up the idiot crab using their giant banana. He gets up energized and singing a strange song. Attacks with all her strength and performs a sequence of blows. Then Ayase reactivates her powers. Then Aira and Okarun attacks again, but Aira can't see the crab's blows and needs Okarun's help. He starts guiding her to hit the disgusting crab. But Momo loses control again, and they end up losing their transformations, but suddenly, a strong green light appears and reverses the water. Now everything has turned into water, and Nessie, affectionate nickname for a terrible and powerful monster, is circling everyone. While they argue desperately, Nessie cuts an alien in half. This makes everyone run. But Aira stays behind and is hit by a punch from the crab. He hits harder in the water. Ayase says that he is a sea centipede. That's why he hits harder in the water, but I'll keep calling him a crab. But Ayase has an idea. With the strength in Grandma Turbo's legs, Okarun can swim very fast. They decide to test it, but Okarun doesn't know how to swim. But I saw him swimming just now. Okay, they start running away again. They realize that they need to save Aira because she is trapped in they go underwater. But they will have to get rid of the stupid crab. But they start a stupid couple's argument at the wrong time and place, like all the other couples. She says that Okarun was taking Aira, but he asks her to listen because he wouldn't explain anything to anyone. But for Ayase, he would tell everything because she is important. A brief romantic mood arrives, but so does the crab. They go underwater, and Momo has an idea. If she presses Okarun with her telekinetic hand, he becomes a smooth fish, and this increases his speed. She does it and pushes him up and manages to catch Aira. Ayase then resurrects the feminist. Momo forces everyone to take off their clothes to reduce their resistance in the water. Meanwhile, down below, the aliens discuss a plan while fleeing from Nessie. They intend to merge with each other to increase their strength. Up above, the two climb on Okarun to get out of there. But when they go underwater, they find the aliens fused with Nessie. He releases a jet of water. A powerful laser that almost turns them into ashes, but this jet has a weakness. It takes a long time to charge, and Ayase throws the transformed Aira to attack while they are vulnerable. But the plan fails because the crab's ability helps them suppress their weakness. He punches Aira, who is almost killed by the laser. Okarun says that if they were on land, they would have a better chance. Momo has an idea. She steps in front of the ugly alien. While he talks about how he's going to kill her, she just tells him to come. He tries to punch her, but Momo makes him hit himself with her powers. She explains that the sea centipede's punch is more powerful in the water, so if it hits itself, it won't survive. The disgusting alien's arms were destroyed, but he still manages to drag Momo to the bottom of the water. But it was a trap. The alien is caught by Era's giant hair, and Okarun saves Momo with style. They wake up on land, and Momo thanks him for the hard ground, but there is something suspicious. This is the school floor. Everyone is watching. They then run desperately to their homes and will stay there for a long time. The next day, they go to the dominatrix nurse's office. He's like those girls who work on that blue website. She asks if they were bullied, but they deny it. She says she has zero tolerance for bullying. When a grandpa opens the door saying that she, the dominatrix nurse, has a call from the teacher's room, she gets angry that he opened without knocking and starts to punish the poor man. Meanwhile, the girls are desperate because everyone saw them in private. Their reputation has been tarnished. Momo then asks Aira when she awakened the powers of the silky acrobatic yokai. Aira says it was during the fight, but she was already very beautiful and graceful before the transformation. Okarun is worried, because now that Aira has powers, she will be attacked constantly. Aira likes the fact that Ken is worrying about her. Momo asks if they want the power of the yokai. Why don't they attack them directly? Okarun has a theory about this. He explains that although the aliens have more technology, they do not invade the Earth for fear of the yokai. That is why they want to have their power so that they can dominate the Earth. Okarun believes that his other ball is with the aliens now. The girls are impressed, but soon remember that everyone saw them naked and start to cry. Era then says that she has a plan. She will say that Momo undressed her and will remain as a victim of Momo's cruelty. Aira's friends arrive and take her away. But Momo wants Okarun's explanations about that day. Okarun then finally tells the truth, saying that Aira tried to kiss him, so they started fighting, and ended up in that embarrassing situation. Momo then asks what he was doing out there. He answers that he was training to get stronger, because he thought it would be cool if Momo saw him getting stronger. Momo is delighted to know that she is so important to him. She then starts trying to make him confess to her. He tries to leave. She gives a seductive look, but he should. But suddenly her friends arrive and ruin this whole moment. They start trying to unravel the case and start asking questions to Momo and Okarun, and they also talk about Aira, coming to the conclusion that it was a fight of naked girls for Okarun, and that Momo watched the sea centipede to learn to hit like her so she could beat Aira. Meanwhile, everyone is around Era to find out what happened. She brags about her popularity, but soon everyone decides that it was Momo's fault, and they start saying that she sleeps with anyone. Era feels guilty and decides to tell the truth. She says that she was the one who spread the rumors about Momo, and that it's all her fault after all. So, she gets up and leaves. She sits outside lamenting the loss of her popularity until Momo arrives. She asks if Aira has come up with a good excuse. She says that everyone hates Momo now, but Momo knows that she's lying. They start to argue, but the idiot crab appears. He says something about money and family and passes out. We have a flashback of the crab's son saying goodbye to his daddy. His son's name is Chiquitita, but then he wakes up in Dodoria's house, but she doesn't believe that he's an alien, but a Kappa. He prepares to fight, but sees that they made him some food and took care of his wounds. So well treated, he devours the food and says he will never hurt them again, but at dinner time he wants to eat everything, causing Dodoria's anger. In fact, they all start to fight over food. After dinner, he explains that his son is very sick and that he loses a lot of blood every time he goes to the bathroom, so he needs to receive fluids every day or he will die. His wife has already died. He explains that his planet is a war zone and that they need a lot of money to survive. The crabs of his race are strong, and so they can work as fighters and guards. But that is not the case with him. He has always been the weakest, so the only thing left for him to do is work for mobsters and outlaws. He blames himself for being a pathetic failure. Okarun is moved by our friend's story and wants to give him his banana so that he can exchange it for money for his family. I would never have thought of something like that. But Ayase says it is useless. That will not solve the situation. The crab says that she is right and that he appreciates Mr. Ken Katagura tries to help. But he will have to get another job and at worst work at Starbucks. But Dodoria says that his blood stinks. This makes Okarun angry. but she says it has a familiar smell, the smell of milk. She asks him to have a glass of milk. He drinks it and discovers that it is the same as his blood. Dodoria says he will ask a farmer friend to give a cow to the crab. Later that day, he comes with his huge ship to abduct the cow and thanks the Earthlings for their hospitality. He leaves at the speed of light. Momo asks if Dodoria believes in aliens now, but she says that he was just a kappa who learned to use a ship, while they ask Dodoria to buy new uniforms for them, but she refuses to buy just for Momo, because she says that she likes to exploit adults. The doorbell rings and Momo goes to answer it, imitating RoboCop. She opens the door and sees Gigi. Okarun asks who he is. Dodoria responds that he was Momo's first love. Okarun is in danger. Okarun thinks that this guy must be really cool for Momo to like him, but soon discovers that he is a complete idiot. After doing several idiotic things, he thanks Dodoria for his stay. Dodoria says that Gigi will live in this house for a while. Momo is desolate. While Gigi does a suspicious dance, Era suspects that Dodoria and Momo are gathering allies for the great final war of Ragnarok. She tells Momo that she will also gather her allies to fight and simply walks out the door. Okarun says that now it is he who is leaving. It is too late. His farewell to Momo is an anti-climax. He just leaves and Momo asks him to at least say that they will see each other tomorrow. She does, but in a shy way. Later, while Gigi eats, Momo asks why he is there. Dodoria replies that his parents have been hospitalized and that he needs to help his friends. Momo questions her, saying that she gives in too easily to compliments, but Dodoria says that it's nonsense. But every time Gigi compliments her, she gives him more food. Later that day, while they were washing dishes, Gigi started to get serious, saying that during his childhood he laughed at Momo because he thought she was strange, but now he also sees spirits. He starts to remember. He moved with his parents to a country house, but he noticed something strange in the house. Nothing worked normally. He told his parents, but they didn't believe him. Until one day, that happened. A powerful being looked at him with his bright eyes. Since that day, he has never had peace again. He resorted to famous mediums to exorcise the spirit, but almost all of them died or went crazy. His last hope is Dodoria. He apologizes to Momo for getting her into this mess, but she reassures him, saying that his grandmother is strong. But Dodoria says that he won't do anything. He can only use his powers in his city, that's why Momo will take this job. Momo is shocked, but Dodoria adds that this may have something to do with the golden ball. That's why this mission is hers. The next day, Gigi goes to school and all the girls like him. The teacher tells him to sit next to Momo, thinking they are related. He hits on Momo's friends, but Momo explains that he is just a childhood friend. Gigi says out loud that they are living together, which makes Momo very angry. He tries to choke him. On the other hand, Okarun is worried about Gigi and Momo. He thinks that maybe she still likes him, and that is why his chances are ruined. He decides to take it out on his training. He trains hard, but he ends up being found by Momo and falls into the bushes. She says that she will keep an eye on him in case Era gets close, but suddenly Gigi appears with a funny yogurt and Momo is happy. Okarun can't stand to see her talking intimately with another man and decides to leave, but he comes face to face with something strange, a man running with all his strength. He goes after Okarun. As he runs, he says that no one can stop him. Momo was about to catch him, but Gigi tried to be a hero and messed everything up. She realizes that the man has a golden ball and uses her hidden hand to try to hold it, but he is too strong and takes her and Gigi. Okarun then transforms and starts running after them. On the way, Momo is almost run over by a bus. Momo manages to catch him, but his body falls apart and rebuilds itself immediately. He just keeps running. They lost sight of him, but Momo has a trick. She squeezes an object, and the guy screams from afar, so they manage to find him. When he fell apart, Momo managed to get his heart. She then asks him to return the golden ball. When everyone hears a voice calling for Taro, that's the name of the strange runner, he then searches through the trash and finds, how can I say, a girl. He declares to her saying that his world changed after he met her. Okarun sees himself in him, because that also happened when he met Momo. Later they ask Dodoria to let Hana live there. Hana is the name of that thing. They say she has nowhere to go, and Taro, her partner, is the school's anatomy dummy. He will only see her at night. Dodoria thinks it's strange for a dummy to behave like that. But after all, what isn't strange in Dandadan? She asks about the ball, but Momo found out it was just a Christmas ornament. Dodoria ends up accepting, as long as they don't get too naughty. Meanwhile, Grandma Turbo and Gigi are becoming friends, but dinner time comes and Gigi takes some dust off Momo's head. This makes Okarun remember Taro's words. He told Hana, "I won't let you go because I love you." Okarun tries to take the dust off Momo's head but fails and ends up looking ridiculous. But he manages to make it worse. He starts dancing and chanting Taro's words. His luck is that Gigi is also an idiot and accompanies him. Dodoria then tells him to. Ayase gets ready, because she's going to Gigi's house soon. This makes Okarun angry. He asks why all this. She answers that Gigi's house is cursed, and Ayase goes to help him. She also invites Okarun to help. He accepts and says that they should finish the work soon so Gigi can leave as soon as possible. During the night, some idiot students decided to invade the school, but they hear a strange noise and come face to face with Taro. He passes by them and goes out through the window. He is anxious to see his Hana, but she ends up being run over by a truck. Meanwhile, Hana and Ayase wait for Taro. The night goes by, but Taro doesn't arrive. But as soon as the sun starts to rise, he hugs Hana. Momo had been sleeping for a long time. He thanks Momo for her patience. But in Gigi's room, he is disturbed. He can't sleep, because that horrible figure is haunting his mind. On the way to Gigi's house, Okarun feels bad when he sees Gigi and Momo being so intimate. He thinks it has to do with his missing ball. He ends up saying the word ball after thinking about it so much. But he realizes that Gigi can easily capture Momo's attention, making Okarun feel isolated. So, he lets out a shout about Tsuchinokos and starts talking about them, which are huge creatures from Japanese folklore. Gigi becomes interested in the subject and once again manages to attract Ayase's attention. Okarun then decides to try to talk about kappas, but once again Gigi is interested. Okarun realizes that Gigi is actually a nice guy. When they reach their destination, Gigi says that it is an area of hot springs and that it has to do with his father's work. They climb a huge staircase, but the townspeople are strange. They finally reach Gigi's house. They are very tired, but there is someone watching them. Momo tries to capture a spiritual presence, but there is nothing. She explains that maybe the spirit is too weak. She asks Gigi for a juice and tells Okarun to sit next to her, but Momo decides to go to the hot springs. Meanwhile, Gigi and Okarun go to play soccer, and Okarun is simply terrible at the game. They start arguing about Momo's beauty, and the game gets a little aggressive. But in the hot springs, some strange men enter the hot springs along with Momo. On the other side, while Okarun and Gigi fight, Okarun realizes that there is a hidden room in Gigi's house. They check the wall and realize that it is hollow. Meanwhile, the men approach Momo, and Gigi and Okarun break the wall and feel something very bizarre. Momo tries to use her powers but can't, and is caught by one of the perverts. Okarun and Gigi stare at the hole in the wall, but something is staring back at them. That was the recap of Dandadan. I thank those who stayed until the end. You deserve a cookie. Comment anything. Until next time.